Marriage is one of those life events that often goes unnoticed until it's suddenly thrust into the spotlight, whether through the sudden reveal of a long-anticipated relationship or the complexity of one that had been quietly bubbling beneath the surface. For Georgie and Mandy, their relationship, much like the bond that forms between any two people, had been building steadily. Yet when the news of their first marriage surfaced, it was an unexpected spark, setting off a cascade of emotions, questions, and reflections, not only from themselves, but from those around them. As the day drew nearer to their wedding reveal, I couldn't shake a feeling of anxiety. Sure, everyone knew they were in love, but did we really know what this meant for them? For the rest of us, Georgie and Mandy's relationship had been a testament to quiet resilience, not an explosive tale of love at first sight. They had met several years ago, during a time when both were struggling with their own personal demons. Their connection wasn't built on grand gestures or passionate outbursts of affection, but on a steady, unspoken understanding. In fact, they had been best friends for a long while before they even acknowledged what their bond truly was. So when news of their marriage arrived, it wasn't a total surprise to anyone who had been paying attention. But the secrecy surrounding their first marriage announcement felt like an unspoken code, a gesture of intimacy shared only between the two of them. Maybe they were trying to protect themselves from the pressures and expectations of a world that was always watching relationships under a magnifying glass. But still, there was something that felt off about the whole thing. Something nagging at me from deep inside. The wedding itself was understated, much like their personalities. A quiet ceremony, held in a small, dimly lit room, surrounded only by a handful of close friends and family. The venue was rustic and intimate, echoing the simplicity that had defined their entire relationship. It was a stark contrast to the fairy tale weddings that we see so often, with their grand ballrooms, towering floral arrangements, and elaborate cakes. This wedding felt real, raw, almost too real. Connie, one of their closest friends, had been there, of course. She had known both Georgie and Mandy for years. Her role at the wedding, though, was far from the supportive, celebratory friend you'd expect. There was something unsettling in her eyes, something anxious that she was trying to conceal beneath a veneer of politeness. The reason for her distress wasn't immediately clear. After all, she was friends with both Georgie and Mandy, and had always been close to them. But as the day unfolded, I could sense a tension rising in the room. Connie's eyes kept darting from Georgie and Mandy to the guests, her smile faltering just a few times too many. It was as if she was afraid something was about to go terribly wrong. And then it hit me. Connie had recently accepted a new job, one that would take her far away from the city, from the small, intimate group of friends she had known and loved for so long. This job wasn't just a career move. It felt like an escape, a way for her to put distance between herself and the increasing complexities of life. The more I thought about it, the more it seemed like the pieces of a puzzle were falling into place. Connie had been dealing with a personal crisis, one that was deeply intertwined with Georgie and Mandy's relationship. She had always been the third wheel, the friend who could never quite step into the intimate world that Georgie and Mandy had built. Perhaps the news of their marriage felt like the final blow, a realization that, no matter how hard she tried, she would always be on the outside looking in. But then I began to realize that Connie's new job wasn't just about distancing herself from the relationship between her friends. It was also about stepping into something completely new, a fresh start, a new chapter. Yet even with that fresh start looming in front of her, there was something unmistakable about the way she was acting that day. Something told me she wasn't entirely convinced that this new job was the answer. The truth was, Connie had never been the type to handle change well. She had always been the one to shy away from difficult situations, preferring the safety of what was known. But now, with her new job, and with the revelation of Georgie and Mandy's marriage, it seemed as though everything was shifting around her, forcing her to confront the discomfort she had been avoiding for years. And that's when I realized I was worried not just for Connie, but for Georgie and Mandy too. Their marriage had come as a revelation to all of us. But for Connie, it had become a mirror, reflecting back all the things she hadn't been able to face about herself, her relationships, and the way she viewed the world around her. Her anxiety about the wedding,